can we play the Magic Johnson clip from Jimmy Kimmel? And then I'm going to bring in Woj and say, is this what this is all? The tampering charge is based on this and this alone?
Are you not allowed to speak to him?
No, we're going to say hi because we know each other.
I see.
You just can't say, hey, I want you to come to the Lakers, even though I'm going to be winking like, you know what that means, right?
Okay. Is that what this is based on? The Pacers saw that. They filed the paperwork, tampering around the time of the draft. Let's bring in Woj. Is that what this is based on, Adrian?
Hey, Dan, I am told that no, that is not what their charges are based on. Now, whether they have something else or not that has some gravity to it, we'll find out. But I'm told they did not file the tampering charges based on that television interview, that they feel there was significantly more that went on.
Okay, are the Pacers asking the league to investigate this? Is that how this works with the paperwork?
Yes. So the Pacers filed, essentially you're filing a grievance with the league against the Lakers. Now, you're not filing it directly. It's not. Magic is the target of this. He's the one that they believe that there is evidence of tampering with, and that's what the league will investigate. The league has a law firm that does it, but they'll go through a lot more. I mean, they have the ability, the league does, to go through cell phone records, emails, those types of things, but it's still very difficult to prove tampering. It just is. But
also, isn't there an invasion of privacy as well if you're going to go through phone records? Can you do this with? Did Draymond Green tamper with Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant?
Well, the rules are different for players.
But
they're allowed
tamper?
to have out communications. I mean, it is tampering, but the league has decided that they're not going to try to legislate player-to-player communication. It is executive coaching. Anybody who's employed by the team in a non-playing role. But players can go out and recruit. James Harden was able to go talk to Chris Paul, recruit him to Houston before that July 1 period legally.
But don't you think James Harden is going to say to Mike D'Antoni, hey, coach, just so you know, I'm going to reach out to Chris. Why would you bring somebody, right? That makes sense, right?
Yes. But here's the thing with the frustration that the Pacers have and other small to mid-market teams share, and why they're watching this one closely is people accept that, like, Chris Paul was going to be a free agent. Now, he hadn't opted out of his deal yet. In the end, he didn't opt out. They figured out a way for him to do a trade, and the Clippers get some things back before July 1. But he was in his walk up to free agency. Everybody can live with a conversation that everyone believes goes on before July 1 between a player who's about to become a free agent and then his free agency July 1. There's sort of just a gentleman's agreement in the league that goes on. What Indiana's frustrated with and what other teams, smaller market teams, is Paul George had 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
At least one full year, and then he could have opted out. That the frustration and why other teams are watching this is they feel like they're getting targeted by bigger market teams when guys have multiple years left on their deal, and they're not accepting of that premise, that premise is okay.
Did Magic make it? Now, I view it as the letter of the law. Magic tampered on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Just like Steve Kerr tampered with LeBron James when he jokingly said it on my show, and it cost him $10,000 when he was with the Suns. You're an executive. You make it public. I know Magic's just trying to entertain, and Kimmel is a Laker fan, but does the league just look at this and say, this is what you said, not in the context of how you said it, this is what you said, wink, wink, when it comes to Paul George?
No, they do, and they're sensitive, especially when it's that out in the open, as doing it on a talk show and everybody sees it. The league has to do something in that instance, but that's just going to be a fine. And the teams can live with the fines. It's, if there's a greater consequence here, which is pretty unlikely, but a greater consequence where it costs you draft picks or the ability to sign that player in free agency. And those are the most extreme consequences, and those would only be in play if there was found to be a very extreme level of contact or interaction that potentially went on. And so that's what they're going to dig into. But this is not about that television interview. It's something beyond that.
He's Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN senior NBA insider and host of the Woj podcast. Blake Griffin kind of grabbed a few headlines there where he said he doesn't see LeBron ending in Los Angeles, but in New York. What'd you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think if he leaves, I think the scenario. I don't know that New York is necessarily on his list, has really ever been. I'm not sure they're in a position for him to walk in and salary cap wise, they have work to do in New York, and it's not been discussed in conversations I've had with people in the league that New York is really a focus for him, that if he does leave Cleveland, I think the Lakers remain, significant. They're in all-out LeBron mode with the Lakers, and I do think if he entertains the idea of leaving next year, they're going to be part of the conversation, to say the least.
Is there enough there? Like, what does Los Angeles have that LeBron is going to be attracted to, aside from the big market living in Los Angeles and what he wants to do after the NBA? But are there enough pieces there where LeBron can be the savior coming in and maybe lead them back to the promised land?
I don't think there are, and I don't know if there are anywhere. I don't know, because of Golden State, I don't know any team LeBron goes to is instantly a contender. I mean, they just are. But are they good enough to beat Golden State? I don't know if that team exists. Maybe a San Antonio or a place where he took a little less money, but I don't know that those are realistic. Yeah. I think L.A., the play is his entertainment company, his business interests beyond basketball, that starts to be a play toward that fading into the sunset in Hollywood, and to want to do some things. He's had a lot of success out there business-wise and entertainment, more so than maybe anybody, his production company and the things they're doing. They've gotten off to a great start in that world, and only he knows how much all of that weighs into it. I do think winning is very important to him, but I don't know where the team is, and I'm not sure he and his group know where's the team that's just ready-made for me to walk into. Now, if it's Paul George and LeBron James going to L.A., I still don't think that's good enough with what they have. They've still got to get that Luol Deng contract off, which is going to cost them a lot in L.A. to get someone to take that money off their hands. I don't know that there's a team that where he walks into it, all of a sudden they're good enough to beat the Warriors. The Warriors have created something that I don't know if, Chris Paul going to Houston, that team's better. Are they good enough to beat the Warriors? I don't know that any of us think that. But
can Kyrie and LeBron coexist for one more year and then go their separate ways?
It's possible. I mean, we've seen it happen. I think for the Cavaliers, they would like to do a Kyrie Irving deal before the season, but they don't have great offers right now. They have offers that they sort of know they could do at any point. So why do it now? The one date that the Cavs are looking at is December 15th, when the players who signed free agent deals this past summer are eligible to be traded on December 15th. And that opens up a lot of avenues for the Cavs for potential deals, because right now they're not getting the kind of offers that they want for him. And it may behoove them to just wait, but that creates a circus-like training camp and all that comes with that when he returns, because that's coming.
Thank you, Woj. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Talk to you soon.
All right, Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN senior NBA insider.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.